video, we'll talk about what the override annotation does. So what I've currently got is a parent class that's got one method called a method, and a statement says called from the parent. The child class extends the parent. It also overrides that same method, changes the statement to called from child, and a driver program that's got two objects, one from the parent class, one from the child class, and both of these objects attempt to call that a method. Because a method is overridden in the child class, that version or this version will be called. So let's run it. So we've got called from the parent, called from the child. Now let's talk about the override annotation that we see here. Now using this annotation helps you avoid mistakes when attempting to override a method incorrectly. So for example, when we try to override this method, we need to make sure that we write the same method header. So if I want to make sure whenever I'm overriding that method correctly, I need to use this annotation. So for example, if I make a mistake and type double D for the method, then this is gonna complain. So that's because we've got the annotation. If I've gotten rid of that annotation, I've commented that out, then this is no longer an issue. But in this case, we're not really overriding that method. We've just basically created another method called a_method with a double D. Now we notice when I save the program, there's no error here, and that's because now this time the child is really calling the parent's version. So if I run it, now it's basically calling both objects are basically calling the parent's version. So if I wanted to use that object, I can actually see that method, the one that I try to override incorrectly, as a whole new method, which was not really overriding, was just basically another method creation. So use the override. It is optional, but it's a good practice. It'll help you identify, or the compiler will complain every time you override incorrectly. So we save. Now we'll have an error here because this method no longer exists, but the program is overriding, or the child class is overriding the parent's method correctly using that override annotation. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the coming ones.